Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for your yoga practice today. If you're new to the channel, my name is Karen, and today I'm going to guide you through a yoga practice for people who work at a desk or spend a lot of time seated throughout the day. So we are going to open into the chest and the hips in particular. Let's get started lying down. So coming to lie on your back, you can extend your legs long on the ground, or maybe you walk your feet towards the opposite sides of your mat and then let your knees knock together. Your arms can be down beside you, or maybe you rest your hands on your belly. Just taking a few moments here to arrive onto your mat and to settle into your body and into the practice. You can close your eyes down if that feels good to you. And we'll take 3 releasing deep breaths here. So inhaling through your nose and then exhaling, sighing it out through the mat. Let's begin. Inhale deeply, fill your belly up with air. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, feel your abdomen and your ribs expand. And exhale, surrender. Inhale the deepest breath of your day here. And then exhale, soften. From here, we'll begin to move, extending your right leg long on the mat, bringing your left knee into your chest. You can interlace your hands around your left knee here, just gently guiding the left knee to the chest. Pausing here for 2 breaths. Breathing deep. Let's take a twist. So reaching your left arm out to the side, and then using your right hand to guide the left knee across your torso and over to the other side of your mat. Your left shoulder remains earthed into the ground. You can gaze up at the ceiling, or maybe you gaze over your left fingertips. Pausing here for 3 deep belly breaths. Rolling back to center. Extending your left leg up to the sky, interlacing your hands behind your left thigh. Now you could always plant your right foot into the mat for this, and you can always have a bend in your left knee if you'd like. Pausing here for 3 deep breaths, breathing into the back of your left leg. Notice what it feels like here to flex your left toes down towards your face. Feeling the stretch in the back of your calf now. One more breath here. Planting your left foot back down to the mat, bringing right knee into your chest now and extending your left leg long on your mat. Pausing here for 2 deep breaths with your hands interlaced around your right knee. Your right arm can go out to a T or a cactus arm here with a 90-degree bend in your elbow if you don't have room like me. Using your left hand to guide your right knee across the body over to the left side of your mat. Right shoulder plugs into the ground. You can gaze up at the ceiling or maybe over your right shoulder. Taking 3 deep belly breaths. And noticing how the stretch is also felt in the outside of your right hip as well as along your back muscles. Rolling back to center, reaching right leg up to the ceiling. You can interlace your hands behind your right thigh and you could always plant the left foot into the mat here. Flexing your right toes down towards your face. 3 breaths here. Breathing into the back of your right leg. Last breath here. Landing your right foot back into your mat. Soles of your feet come together now as your knees go wide. Reclined butterfly pose. You can have your hands resting on your belly. Or if you'd like, maybe reaching your arms up overhead and holding onto opposite elbows, bringing the opening a little bit more into your shoulders and into your heart space. 5 deep breaths here. Breathing into inner thighs, your hips. One more deep breath. You can use your hands to guide your knees back towards each other. Both feet plant into your mat, about hips width distance apart. Your arms are down beside you with the palms planted into the ground. Bridge pose. Pushing into your heels, reaching your hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing your glutes here. You can also push into your shoulders here. Think of reaching your knees to the top of the mat and reaching your chest towards your chin as your hips reach up to the sky. 3 more breaths in your bridge pose. Dropping your hips back to the mat. Slowly bringing both knees into your chest, giving yourself a little hug here in reclined child's pose. Maybe you even gently rock a little bit side to side. 2 more breaths. When you're ready, bringing your hands behind your knees and just rolling up to seated and then all the way to tabletop. All fours position. Your hands are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. Cat cow. Inhale, drop your belly towards your mat, gaze forward, guide your chest through your arms. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, dome out the upper back, chin to chest, push into your hands and knees. Inhale, your belly drops, gaze forward, cow. Exhale, reverse the movement, tuck your tailbone, chin to chest, cat. Once more, inhale here. Exhale. Neutral spine. Stepping your hands a little bit further forward. Downward facing dog. Your hands are shoulder width distance apart, or they might be a little bit wider. Spreading through all 10 fingers. Tuck your toes under. Push out through your hands to feel your shoulders power on. Pick your knees up and then sending your hips up and back towards the sky. Your head is in between your arms and you can gaze back at your feet. For down dog, you can have a bend in your knees. You could also walk out your dog, bending into one knee, straightening through the other. Keep pushing out through your hands, reaching your chest back towards your thighs. One more breath here. Let's walk the hands back towards the feet now. So just walking your hands back towards your feet for forward fold. You can have a nice spin in your knees for this. Let your torso dangle over your legs, tucking chin to chest. You could let your hands dangle down, or maybe you hold on to opposite elbows here. 4 deep breaths in this ragdoll variation of forward fold. One more breath here. And then letting go of the hold of your elbows if you have that. With a bend in your knees in slow motion, rolling vertebrae by vertebrae all the way up to standing. Your head is the last thing to arrive. Once you're there, inhale, reaching your arms up to the sky. And then interlacing your fingers, turning your palms to face the ceiling. Take a big stretch here. Really growing tall through your spine. Think of sending your shoulders back behind you. One more deep breath. Holding onto your right wrist with your left hand now. Inhale to grow tall through your spine. And then exhale, start to lean over to the left. Side body stretch, right side. Reaching your hips to the right as you lean to the left. Breathing into the right lung, right rib cage. 2 more breaths here. Back to center and switch outside. So hold on to your left wrist with right hand now. Inhale, growing tall through your spine. Exhale, lean to the right side, body stretch left side. Hips go to the left, you lean to the right. Noticing how much effort it requires to be out of your midline here. One more breath. Inhale back to center, letting go of the hold. And then exhale, folding forward once more. You can have a deep bend in your knees for this, or maybe this time you straighten your legs a little bit more. You could hold on to opposite elbows again. You could let your hands just dangle, chin to chest. 3 more breaths. Bringing the weight onto the toes a little bit more than the balls of the feet. And then when you're ready, just starting to walk your hands out ahead of you, coming into a high plank here. So hands under your shoulders. Then you can always drop your knees down here if you'd like as well. Can you keep your hips in line with the rest of your body so they're not too high up and they're also not too low down? They're in line with the rest of your body. Pushing out through your toes, pushing out through the hands. One more breath here. Well done. Dropping the knees down if they're not there already. And then inhale, leaning slightly over the wrists. As you exhale, bend into your elbows, chest, belly, all the ways to your mat. Sphinx pose. So lifting your head and chest up off the mat, bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders. You could rest your palms down on the mat if that feels good for you, or maybe you interlace your fingers instead. Roll your shoulders down your back, gazes forward. If it feels like too much for your lower back to have your elbows under your shoulders, you can always walk the elbows further forward. Here for another 4 deep breaths. Last breath here in Sphinx, opening into the heart space. Now from here, you're just going to bring the right forearm across your mat in front of you. Bending into your left knee, reaching back to grab onto the left foot. Now you could always drop your head down to the ground if that feels better for you. And then guiding the left heel towards your left glute with your left hand. 3 breaths here for a left side quad stretch. Let's do the other side. So gently letting that go. Now your left forearm comes across your mat. Bend into the right knee, holding onto the right foot. You can always drop your head down to the ground if it feels better. Guiding your right heel closer towards your right glute. 3 breaths here on this side. Releasing that. And let's take Cobra rolls. So bringing your hands just underneath your shoulders. From here, inhale, gently push into the hands. Lift your head and chest up, only as high as feels good for your lower back. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. 2 more. Inhale, lift. exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale to rise. And exhale, lower. Hands under your shoulders, tucking under your toes, pushing up to tabletop. And let's take child's pose. So big toes come to touch, your knees go wide. You're sinking your hips back towards your heels. And you can start to walk your arms ahead of you. You can rest your forehead on the ground, or you could always bring something underneath your forehead, like a cushion or a block, to bring the ground closer. 4 breaths here. Walking your hands in towards your knees. And let's set up for camel pose. So for this, it might feel good to double back the mat, create a little bit of extra cushioning for your knees. And then you can come to kneeling here on your shins, tucking your toes under, bringing your hands to your lower back with the fingers pointing down towards the backs of your knees, squeezing your elbows together. If that doesn't feel good in your body, you can always bring your hands on your waist instead. From here, tuck your tailbone under so your tailbone reaches down towards the back of your knees and your belly button starts to reach to your chin. Feel how that already starts to send your hips forward. So hips go forward and chest reaches up to the sky. Elbows squeeze together. You can keep gazing forward, or if it feels good for your neck, you might drop your head back slightly and gaze up to the ceiling. 4 deep breaths here. Using your core to lift yourself out of that. Your head is the last thing to arrive. Sinking your hips towards your heels for kneeling. You can come straight to child's pose if this doesn't feel good in your body, or else bringing your hands to your knees, rounding chin to chest. Two more breaths here. Knees together, child's pose this time. Of course, if knees together doesn't feel good for you, you can always do your knees nice and wide apart. Sinking your hips towards your heels, reaching your forehead towards the mat. This time it might feel good to reach your arms back behind you with the palms faced up. 4 breaths here. When you're ready, rising out of that and coming to lie down on your belly. Taking your time, there is no rush. Bringing both knees into your chest here, guiding your knees and your feet wide away from each other, like you're wrapping your thighs around your torso. You can stay here. This is reclined yogi squat. Or maybe you bring the soles of your feet to face the ceiling for happy baby. Your hands could be behind your thighs, on the ankles, or maybe onto your feet. If you're in happy baby, think of reaching your knees towards your armpits and keeping your lower back on the ground. Here for 5 deep breaths. Bending into your knees, bringing your knees back together. Give yourself one last hug here and recline child's pose. And let's take Shavasana. So extending your legs long, arms out to the side. If legs long doesn't feel good for your low back, you could do what we did at the start of the class, walking your feet away from each other and letting your knees knock together. Make sure that you can feel comfortable here. Shavasana is a posture of deep rest where we integrate and absorb the practice that we just did. So find a restful position for your body. You can close your eyes down here if that feels nice for you, or you might prefer to soften your gaze. Relaxing your eyes, softening your jaw. Can you relax your chest? Softening your belly. Allowing your whole back body to release into your mat. We'll be here for a few more minutes in silence. Your only task here is to simply rest. I'll call you back with the sound of my voice. When you're ready, take a deep breath here to wake your body back up. Inhale. Exhale. You can start to take gentle movement, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Maybe gently rocking your head side to side. Rolling out your wrists, your ankles. Taking a big stretch if that feels good for you. Reaching your arms up overhead. And then bringing both knees nice and slowly into your chest. One breath here. Inhale. Exhale. taking your time to make your way up to a seated position. And we'll close the practice together in seated. Inhale, reaching arms up to the sky. Exhale, bringing your hands to prayer at heart center. We'll close the practice by chanting the sacred sound of Om 3 times. We'll begin with an inhale. Bowing your head to your heart. Bringing your hands over your eyes. You can rest the weight of your head in your hands. And taking your time to come back to your space. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I really hope that you enjoyed that practice. If you did, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like this video, and yeah, I'd love to hear in the comments how you found this class as well. And yeah, wishing you a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.